Just wanted to ask you about Laurent Duvernay-Tardif's decision and how that struck you, and even if it surprised you.
Yeah, I mean, I think it surprises anyone, but at the same time, you respect his decision. I mean, he's the guy who's been on those front lines, working with the people that are suffering from COVID day to day, and putting in all that time and all that work. And he understands it, and his decision was he wanted to stay there. He wanted to keep helping in that capacity. And I know it was difficult for him, but you respect the decision for him to kind of put his thoughts aside and kind of do what he thought was best to help out his community and the world as he sees it.
Let's go to Adam Teicher. Go ahead, Adam.
Hey, Pat. Welcome back to the facility. Was just curious, particularly in light of Larry's decision, what is your level of concern for your own personal safety through all this? And also, just wondering how well you've gotten to know Clyde Edwards-Helaire through all this. I'm wondering if he was part of maybe those off-season practices you kind of put together. If you could go into that as well.
Yeah, I mean, to the first part, I definitely there's going to be a little concern. I mean, you'd be lying to say you have no concern, but at the same time, as I've been throughout the facility now, the last night and then a little bit today, and seeing all the protocols and all the safety things that Rick and all these guys have put forth, it's really kind of made me feel even better than I thought coming in, knowing how much that the NFL and the NFLPA has really put into making sure that we can be as safe as we possibly can be. And so that's kind of put my mind at ease of knowing that I'm going to be in the best possible situation, given the time to be as safe and as healthy as possible. And then with Clyde has been through some of those workouts, and he has been out there. I've got to meet him and talk to him a little bit, and obviously stay in touch throughout the whole process in general. And he's a guy that is a hard worker. You can tell by his demeanor. You can tell by the way he's out there and what he does off the field and on the field. And so I'm excited to have him involved in the offense now and get out there more and more with him and build some chemistry.
Let's go to Sam McDowell. Go ahead, Sam.
Hey, Patrick. Hope all is well, man. You mentioned last offseason that you had thought about the way that the 2018 ended throughout the offseason. I wonder what the feeling is coming into this year's camp, aside from all this COVID stuff, just football-wise, what's the feeling coming into this camp?
Yeah, I mean, my feeling is I'm ready to get back after it. I mean, I think that's the biggest thing. Once you hit this first day, I mean, it's all starting over again, and it's been a different offseason. Obviously, it started with the Super Bowl win and being on a high level, and then dealing with a pandemic and other movements that have kind of went throughout our nation. You've had to try to keep your head on straight and deal with it in the best way possible for you and the community around you. And so now I'm glad to be back in the facility, back with the guys that are my teammates, the guys that we built this culture together. And now it's about restarting the process, doing it over again. And we understand it's going to be hard. It's going to be an every day-to-day process, but we're going to go out there with the mindset of being the best team that we can be every single day.
Let's go to Pete Sweeney. Go ahead, Pete.
Hey, Patrick, thanks for taking some time with us. A couple of your teammates this week, Chris Jones and Tyreek in particular, they made these national waves for not only wanting to repeat as champions, but to have 5 and 6 and 7 Super Bowls. As the leader of the team, do you like this type of talk? Do you encourage it? Or is it something where you say, okay, let's just focus on this day to day and maybe getting this one first here?
I mean, it's a little bit of both. I mean, you love the guys have the goals and they want to be in Kansas City for a long time, and that they want to win championships, and they don't want to be average. They want to be great every single year. But I think other than that, I mean, you know these guys and how they're talking, other than just the quotes, that they're talking about the day-to-day process. They're talking about how hard it is to be on the top, to get to the Super Bowl. If you look at our season, this last season, we had a lot of adversity, a lot of ups and downs throughout the season and in the playoffs. And so I think the guys have that mindset that they have those long-term goals. They know that they're going to have to go out there every single day and prove that. They're going to have to go out there with the mindset to be great every single day. And if they go through that process every single day, they'll never have any regrets at the end of their career.
Let's go to Seren Petra. Go ahead, Seren.
Pat, I wonder, how you feel going in all the time you guys lost actually on the football field. Now that you're there, a lot of people are speculating that you guys will have an advantage because everybody is back. But how far behind do you feel now stepping on the field since you guys haven't had minicamp?
Yeah, I mean, personally, I don't feel that much behind at all. I mean, I thought the virtual meetings went well. We had great attendance. We had guys, every guy was there. Every guy was paying attention. Everybody was in tune to the meeting. I mean, Coach Reed's asking people questions every 5 minutes, so you better be in tune. And so having that, and then as well as finding ways to work at home. Obviously, you haven't had that time on the field that you're used to, but I think with the NFLPA and the NFL coming to this acclimation period, that's going to get guys ready to go, get guys preparing their bodies so that we can kind of cut those injury rates down from not having OTAs. You want to make sure that everybody's ready to go, and I feel like guys are ready. Guys are ready to be back on the field. They're going to do whatever it takes to make sure their bodies and minds are ready for whenever that first game comes.
Let's go to BJ Kissel. Go ahead, BJ.
Hey, Patrick, I'm curious your thoughts. I know the news has come out, Laurent Duvernay-Tardif deciding to, basically skip this season to stay up in Canada and help out. Just curious your thoughts and if you've spoken with any of your teammates about that as well.
Yeah, I mean, from everybody that I've spoken to, everybody respects the decision 100%. I mean, Larry's a guy who loves football, but he also loves his other passions, and being a doctor is extremely important, especially at this time that we're at in this world. And so for him, I know it's difficult for him. He wants to be out here with us. He wants to be a part of us. He wants to be a part of the guys. But at the same time, he wants to make sure he's doing something to make the world a better place. And I believe that he is doing that. He's seen it firsthand, and he understands that he needs to be in that place now, and we're going to respect it and give him as much support as we can.
Let's go to Michelle Steele. Go ahead, Michelle.
Hey, Patrick, thanks so much for the time today. I just from a conditioning perspective, if the season started tomorrow, do you feel like you could play? And is there an area that you've identified, an area of your game where you'd like to improve?
I mean, I don't know if I could play not on a conditioning factor, but tomorrow, if the season started tomorrow. But, I mean, I think that comes with you get some reps. You got to get some full team 11-on-11 reps before you're ready to go against NFL caliber players. And so I feel like conditioning, I'm in great shape. I'm in probably the best shape I've ever came into camp at, actually. And so I think conditioning-wise and health-wise, I'm in a great spot. But now it's about getting those reps. And as things do improve, I mean, for me, every single year, it's the fundamentals. It's about going out there, making sure I can make the plays within the pocket just as well as to make plays from outside of the pocket. And the mental game, the more reps that I get, I'll get better with the mental side of the game. And I'm going to make sure I push myself to be the best quarterback and teammate I can be every single day.
Looks like we have 3 hands up left, so we'll do our final 3. We'll go Danny, Harold, and then Darren. Go ahead, Danny.
Cool. Pat, thank you so much for doing this. First off, with all these changing protocols and everything and how weird it's going to be, what's it been like just walking back into the building today? Who have you spoken with? What's that protocol kind of been like? And then also, how much of a difference is it going to make not having those preseason games and being able to have that acclimation period before you go into the regular season?
Yeah, I think, first off, with all the protocols, I think the NFLPA did a good job of getting all the players on the calls to make sure that we were prepared to be in the building and prepared for everything that was going to entail with that. And so being here today, you just see that the NFL and NFLPA are really taking this thing seriously. They're really taking the social distancing, the wearing a mask, everything like that seriously, so that we're not hurting each other or hurting anyone else out in the world with being here together and trying to build something. And then with no preseason games, obviously I don't know exactly how that's going to be because I've never done it before. But, I mean, going back to college, I think you know that there has been times where you have to get to those first games, and it's serious. You got to make sure you go out there and try to win football games. So I'll try to lean on that, as well as I feel like when you have this acclimation period, it will help guys build up and make sure their bodies are prepared. And I feel like that was what was most important. Other than, the preseason games are something that help a lot of guys out, but I think the health of the players and having this acclimation period to get everybody ready to go so that when we do hit the field, they're ready to go.
Let's go to Harold Kuntz. Go ahead, Harold.
Hey, Patrick. Good morning. Hope you're doing well, or early afternoon, or whatever it is. But, hey, a lot of NBA players have recently come out, and said in their kind of post-game conferences about Breonna Taylor and how they're pleading for justice for Breonna Taylor. I'm just wondering what you thought of the NBA players coming out and saying that, and also following back on our conversations back in June, are there any preliminary plans you've had with voter registration in the area, and what have you followed up on since that conversation?
Yeah, so, first off, with the NBA players, I 100% have full support of everything that they're doing to help the efforts with Breonna Taylor and everything with the Black Lives Matters movement. They're doing a great job of just being an example, especially being one of the first organizations to go back and be a part of playing the sport they love, but also a part of staying with the movement and not letting their love for the sport affect their mind and their motivations of supporting the movement. And then with the voter registration stuff, we've actually had a lot of talks with Mark Donovan, the president, and Clark Hunt about what that's going to entail. We're hoping that we have something finalized within this next week or two. And so for us, we're going to keep doing whatever we can in order to make sure that people have good places where they're registered to vote. People have good places where they can go vote and have easy access to put in whatever support, whatever belief that they have. And that's what we have to do as a nation, is empower everybody to be able to go out there and make their voice known.
All right, let's close it out with Darren. Go ahead, Darren.
Hey, Patrick, thank you so very much. As it relates to the voter stuff, hopefully, yourself, Mark Donovan, you all will be involved in the 3rd and 5th district here in Kansas City, where it's most needed. Looking back at actually, are you now, because you were the alternative, I think when Dustin Coker was the player rep, have you now moved up to the player rep status for the Chiefs? And then how much involvement did you have with DeMorris and the executive committee on how the outlook of this agreement with the NFL was?
Yeah, I think, I've kind of moved up into that rep role. I think Dustin's actually been able to kind of stay on the calls and teach me and help me more, even as someone that was a leader on the team last year. He's just a great guy, and he's kind of helped me and gave me advice and stuff like that. But I was on all the PA calls. I listened. I gave my questions. I thought the calls went well. There was a ton of questions. The calls were long, but they were worth it. We're in a time where we want to make sure we really cross T's, dot the I's, and have everything the right way and the way we wanted to have it. And I thought the executive committee did a great job of getting, first off, protection for the guys that were high risk, protection for the guys that voluntarily opted out, and then protection for the guys that were on the field. And I thought they did a good job with the protocols that are in place, and they've done a good job with the economics of how we're going to go about this season. And so I thought that they really pushed and got the things that gave us the comfortability to approve the proposal that was sent to us yesterday. And I thought they really laid it out for every single person, so everybody understood before we made the vote.